Everybody, it's Dr. Lady J here. I know it's late. People probably have gone to bed, or you're probably getting ready to go to bed. But I just I heard the story about DJ Twitch on the guy from Ellen, and it just really, like, I was like, I can't really not do a video about him because first of all, he was somebody popular. A lot of people know him. The other thing is that he's a black man, and we don't really talk about suicide and depression, and we focus a lot on the women. I'll say that. I'm sorry, I was looking down because I'm sharing the video. But we focus a lot on the women. We focus a lot on women being abused, women dealing with suicide, women dealing with depression, women dealing with all types of issues, but we really don't focus on our men. So I wanted to come on tonight, like before I go to bed, because this was like really bothering me, and just talk about it for a little bit, because I don't know what it's like in other communities, but I do know what it's like in the black community. And I do know growing up, and even when I was raising my son, and my son is 26, but I do know that boys were taught to not cry. Like, I've seen parents, literally seen parents with my own eyes, tell their little boys, you better stop crying or I'm gonna hit you again, or stop being a punk for crying. The crying, tears, they're human emotions. And when we have our little boys, we squash those emotions. And I'm not going to say we, because I didn't do that with my son. My son was allowed to cry. I allowed him to express himself. But, there are parents and people who are raising young boys, young black boys, and they're saying to the boys, you can't cry, or stop acting like a little girl. I've heard that a lot. Stop acting like a little girl, you little sissy, because they're crying, because they're expressing emotions. If you hit a child, don't you expect them to cry? If you are yelling at them, don't you expect them to have some type of emotions or feelings? And I said, if we don't start getting to the realization that our black boys' feelings are valid, their emotions are valid, how we talk to them, is really important. And it's important for them to be heard. If we don't start doing this, what happens is that these little boys who aren't allowed to express themselves, who aren't allowed to just cry and express emotions, they're going to grow up into men who suffer in silence. And when I read this article about DJ Twitch, he was a DJ for Ellen DeGeneres on her show, and her show actually ended earlier this year, but he was always full of life. He was always laughing, and a lot of what I read about him today, people were always saying, like, he was the life of the party. He was always like, the fun one. And he made everybody laugh. He made everybody feel good. But who knew what he was going through? Who knew whether he was depressed or sad about something, or maybe something was going on in his life that he was afraid to share with somebody? Because once again, in our community, we teach our men, be a man, hold it in, suck it up, handle that. And we totally forget that they're men. We totally forget that they're people with feelings. We forget about that. And I know that this video is not going to be popular because nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to talk about that part of it. And we will read the article about this young man who was only 40 years old. We'll read the article about him leaving his home and going to a hotel a few miles away to commit suicide, we'll read about that and we'll be like, that's a shame, and we'll keep right on going. And it's really starting to bother me, because at what point are we going to get it that we have to validate our little boys, we have to validate our men, we have to say to our men that it's okay if you cry, it's okay if you show emotions, there's nothing wrong with it, you are human. And so I'm on here tonight and I'm saying to my black brothers, listen, brother, if you have something going on, it's okay for you to sniffle. It's okay for you to cry. Listen, we all have tear ducts. That's what they're for. So if you feel like you need to cry, if you're feeling overwhelmed, don't get to the point where you feel like because of your manhood and you've been told, act like a man and be a man and tough it out. What does that mean? What does that mean? And I'm just so sad that this young man felt like he had no other alternative but to take his life. We need to be having conversations about that. That's not okay. That's not good. Because just like he took his life, there could be some other, hey, Eleanor, there could be other young men out here who are not on the level of DJ Twitch. We don't know them. They're just your average young man. How many young men, and I'm hearing it more and more, and I think it's bothering me too, because, being a chaplain, I hear y'all have no idea the stories, the horror stories that I hear. And I'm hearing more and more of our black men and our boys taking their lives, and nobody knows. They leave. It's a mystery. Nobody knows why they're taking their life. At this point in time with DJ Twitch, nobody knows why this young man took his life. He was 40 years old, beautiful wife, 3 beautiful children. He looked like he had been blessed to really have a decent life. I know the Ellen show was over, and I don't know, maybe, that could have been a thing of just thinking about how do I maintain this certain status that I've set for my living standard, that I've set for my family. He could have been thinking about a lot of things, but my thing was, you felt like you had nobody to go and talk to. Like, that's sad. That is sad. And we have to start validating our men. We had a young man on a show last night, and this young man was really like, pouring his heart out. And he's 28 years old, lives in Harlem, New York, and he was on one of the host shows on the station. And the young man was just pouring his heart out about the abuse that he's gone through. And he's gone through stuff in 28 years that I know some adults have never gone through, and they're my age. And as he's talking about what he's going through, a couple of the older men on the show are just like cracking him down, and you need to do this, and you gotta, and it got into a yelling match. And I had to get on and tell the young man, listen, get off of this show, and then we're going to do a show after this. He jumped off the show, and I sat up just to wait for him so to give him a space to talk last night and to say what it was that he wanted to say. Sometimes we need to be quiet and listen to what our young black men and boys are saying. Even the men, what are they saying? And because we've been raised in that environment, like my dad is in his 80s, and their generation, I'm from the baby boomer generation. They're from the generation that's called the silent generation. My son is a millennial. So, these are different generations of things that have been taught. And in my dad's generation, he's 86, I believe, 85, 86. He comes from the silent generation where they didn't talk at all. So if you were going through something, or you were going through some type of pain or trauma or whatever back then, those men were not, were taught not to talk. They were from the silent generation. So at my age, I've never seen my dad cry. I've never seen him break. And I know that he has emotions. He's human. I know he's gone through situations of losing his dad, his brothers, and different things that have happened, me being sick. I know he's gone through things that have been hurtful, but I've never seen him cry, because his generation was taught that you don't do that. And if you and this is just my imagination, because I really don't know, but I'm assuming that when those hurtful moments have come in his life, maybe he goes to another room and cries. I don't know. And why do we put that pressure on our young men? And like I said, my generation, I watched people as a kid, I watched parents, hitting their boys for crying. You better stop crying and you better get it together and suck it up. You ain't no girl. What? The things that we have to begin to educate ourselves so that we can create and build a better generation. The next generation has to be better. DJ Twitch, his generation, same thing. He's 40 years old, and in his generation, same thing. You were taught to be a man. You handle that. You go do what you got to do. But one thing you better not do is cry. And that's what they were taught. And so, like I said, when you teach young boys not to cry, not to show their emotions, not to show any fear, any hurt, any pain, you just want them to, they got to be in charge of everything. They got to handle everything. They got to be that man. You are only raising boys who are going to turn into men who suffer in silence. And that silence can spill over to them being abusive, because they have to let those emotions out some kind of way. They can't just hold them in, so they got to come out some kind of way, so they can grow into men who suffer with depression, anxiety, suicide, like I said, abusive tendencies, people who just struggle with their identity, because you're stripping something away from them that's in them. We are born with tear ducts. We're born with emotions. Male, female, black, white, I don't care what ethnicity you are. We're humans. They're not machines, is what I'm saying. And so I just had to come on for a few minutes and talk about that, because like I said, in what I'm doing, I'm seeing more and more, and maybe I wasn't paying attention to it, but I haven't seen in my years so many black men who are just taking their lives. I mean, literally taking their lives. And when you get to that point of suicide, and that's just a point of no return. And when you're actually, and I don't know how, he killed himself or anything. I did have some notes on here. I don't know, how he did it or what happened, but I feel bad that he couldn't get past that and look at his beautiful family. He has beautiful children. Hey, Tanya, he has beautiful children, beautiful wife. On top of that, his wife posted on Instagram this beautiful post on Sunday, because on Sunday, this past Sunday, they celebrated their 9th anniversary. And she wrote this beautiful post on Instagram. He followed up and wrote a beautiful post to her on Instagram. And it's just sad, because with all of that smiling and all of that laughing and all of that trying to make everybody else feel good, he wasn't good. And sometimes doing all of that will get you to a point where you really can't do it anymore. You can't sustain that. And I guess he didn't want to go to therapy. I don't know. I'm guessing some of this because they haven't really said anything, but I don't know if he was in therapy or what. Nobody knows. People are baffled because there's no note. He just went to a hotel not far from his house and he killed himself. And I wanted to read, and he could dance. Oh, he was just funny. And I would really, I didn't watch all of Ellen's show. I would tune in just to see him because I liked him at the beginning, him and Ellen dancing. But this is what his wife wrote. She said, "It is with the heaviest of hearts that I have to share my husband Stephen." His real name is Stephen, has left us. His name was Stephen Hoker Boss. Stephen Boss, sorry. And she said, "Stephen lit up every room he stepped into. He valued family, friends, and community above all else. And leading with love and light was everything to him." And that's what I'm saying. You saw that with him. He was the backbone of our family, the best husband and father, and an inspiration to his fans. So I want to take that apart a little bit and talk about it. Because she put some words in there, exactly what I just said to you. As a matter of fact, this is my first time reading this. I had just pulled it up. But listen to the words that she uses about him. She said, he lit up every room that he stepped into. Okay, life of the party. Life of the party. He valued family, friends, and community. So when I think of that word, her saying that he valued, that means that he would never do anything that would embarrass the family, that would bring dishonor or anything to the family, because he valued the family and the community. And she said, above all else, he was always leading, okay? He's the leader. Leading with love and light. She said that was everything to him, okay? Showing that he can be a leader. Showing that he loves everybody. He is the light, the life of the party. And then this word right here. He was the backbone of our family. And these words, when I look at these words, it gives me, it helps me to look into him even deeper because of what I said. He was taught to be those things, as he should. But the thing that he needed to understand is when you don't have the capacity to be the backbone of the family, maybe this week was a rough week and you say, babe, I can't, I need you to step up and do such and such because I just can't take that on. It's okay to do that. You're a couple. That's your wife. And I'm pretty sure from the way she said she loved him, she would have done that. But he was taught to be the backbone. He was taught to be a leader. Sounds like he had a really excellent upbringing. He was taught to respect and uphold and honor family, community, and, his surroundings. He was taught all of these things. And so in doing that, when I think about the fact that he, more than likely he was suffering with depression, because you're not just going to wake up in the morning and just decide, I'm just going to kill myself. Now you got to be dealing with depression. Okay. You got to be. And so, in doing all of those things, I'm thinking that was a weight on him. Plus he's dealing with depression. And so I had to really, I'm looking at this as I'm talking to you all, and I'm just breaking it all down in my mind and really thinking about those things, because he was the man. Like I say that about my dad. My dad is the man of the house, and my father ain't gonna let nobody else come in there. And if I say, Dad, I'm gonna give you $25. No, I don't want your $25. No, I don't want that. I'm good. He could be broke, but that's what they've been taught. And so sometimes when the pressure gets too heavy and you're all of these things to everybody else, who do you go to? Who do these men go to? And I think that's the other thing. We have to make sure that we let our men know that it's okay when you're not feeling good mentally to go get checked out, to go talk to somebody. Go get the help that you need. And so, that in itself, along with just being, and on top of all of those things, being DJ Twitch. So I got to keep up a certain persona because I'm DJ Twitch. And when I step out, they're expecting me to dance, smile, shine, and do all of that. A lot of pressure. And sometimes people take on all of this unnecessary pressure when they can just communicate that I'm not okay. And so we have to teach people how to communicate. She goes on to say he left a legacy would be an understatement, and his positive impact will continue to be felt. I am certain there won't be a day that goes by that we won't honor his memory when we ask for privacy during this difficult time for myself and especially for our 3 children. And it says that the medical examiner concluded and published in his death report, he pronounced him dead at 11:25 a.m. on Tuesday morning in LA, in a suburb of Encino, California. It just says that it was a suicide, and he was 40 years old. He was born in Montgomery, Alabama, and and it said he earned his nickname Twitch because he couldn't stand still, so they would call him Twitch. But he graduated from high school in 2000, and he studied dance and performance arts at Southern Union State Community College and Chapman University. And he seems like like I said, like he had a great life. I didn't know that he was on MTV. He was on Star Search. He's done a lot, But like I said, if we don't start talking to our young men and letting our young men know it's okay if you want to cry. It's okay if you need to take a break. It's okay if you don't feel good. You're human. It's okay if you wake up and you just start feeling like, you know what, I can't do this today. You know how we wake up sometimes, I can't go to work today. Everything hurting. I can't do it. It's okay. You have to learn how to communicate. That's why I love my black brothers, and I try to support them as much as I can, because I know a lot of them are walking around with the weight of the world on their shoulders, because they're trying to take care of everything and everybody and don't have a clue as to how to take care of themselves and what they're thinking and feeling. And so I just want to say rest in peace to him. I was really, really sad to hear that about him, and to hear and see so many other young men who we don't know. They're not famous, but I get the calls about them committing suicide, overdose, and those kinds of things. Because when you keep when you keep telling people, not hearing people is what I'm trying to say. I'm getting sleepy. When you're in a place in your life where you don't allow people to be heard, thank you God, because I was all the way over here. When you don't allow people to be heard, that's a problem. And I want to say to any man, young man, old man that's listening, if you're around people, even if it's your spouse, and they don't hear you when you're talking, that's a problem. That is a huge problem. To be sitting and having a conversation with somebody, and it's frustrating. It's frustrating. Hey, it's frustrating to be sitting there trying to have a conversation with somebody and you're not being heard, because the person is sitting there pouring all of their feelings out to you, saying, this is what I'm feeling, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I'm going through. And while they're pouring all of those things out to you, you getting your long speech together to slam them and tell them what you think. Sometimes you need to close your mouth and learn how to listen. And that's why I said with DJ Twitch, I don't know his status of where he was at. I would think that there was somebody that he could go to, maybe talk to, or privately go to a counselor or therapist to get some help, But again, in our community, I see y'all comments. I'm going to get to them. But in our community, in the African American community, another myth and another thing that really wrecks my brain is, telling people that, you don't need to go to therapy. You shouldn't be going to therapy. You have no idea how many people have said to me, why would I go and talk to somebody and tell them all my business and they don't even know me? Same reason, and I know the kids are going to bed now. The same reason, ladies, and this is for ladies and men. Same reason, ladies, why you go to a gynecologist and you don't know that doctor, you don't know who he is, but you open your legs up and you let him examine you. And the same way, men, you go in and you get your examination, or the doctor gives you some pills because you're saying your back hurts or your leg hurts, and you go ahead and take those pills. You trust him, don't you? But you don't know him. You don't know him. And therapists, clinicians, psychologists, psychiatrists, they've all gone to school too, to learn how to help people with their behavioral health issues. And so we have to stop that negativity and that foolishness that we pass around in the community, that we don't need to be going to therapy. And God forbid if somebody say they're going to a psychiatrist, oh, he crazy, she crazy. No, it doesn't mean that you're crazy. It's a title that person earned in school. And I've gone to psychiatrists. I've been in psychology. Yes, Sharon, they need to watch their tongue. Hey, Dorothy, I've gone to all of that. And, if you need it, you need it. That's what they're there for. But I really wanted to use this time to focus on our black men, because I do live in Baltimore City, and there are certain parts of our city that I go into and my heart breaks, because I'm always wondering what happened. What's their story? Why do they just wake up every day and feel like it's okay to just go stand on the corner all day? I know sometimes it's because they have lengthy records, they can't get jobs, and people are addicted and all different kinds of things. They're strung out, but it just makes me wonder what happened in life that got you to this point. Because I'm not just talking about young boys, I'm talking about men, some men older than me, and they find their way on that corner. And you have to ask yourself, what happened in life that you became so disconnected that this is now life for you, and this is what life now looks like. And so for those of you who have young people, I hope, especially young men, you may be grandparents or you may be parents, and don't ever think that your child is too old where you can't sit down and have a conversation. I mean, as parents, you should establish that a long time ago, where you can sit down and talk to your children. But we have to let our young men know that it's okay for you to say that I'm not okay. It's okay for them to say, I'm not feeling good. My head doesn't feel right. Not in the right head space. I'm feeling kind of down today. It's okay for them to say, I can't figure this out. And as women, because I done seen some women that's they pretty rough, and they want that man to be the man, and if he can't do it, then somebody else can do it. Y'all better stop that foolishness, and understand that we are all human. All of us are human, and we come from different backgrounds, and we come with different capabilities, and we come with our hurts and our pains. And again, I will say it again, that if we don't start at the root, which is with our boys, when they're little boys and babies, and teaching them how to communicate and letting them know that certain things are okay, they're going to grow up into men who suffer in silence. And we wonder as women, why is it always a disconnect with my man? You know, we get to a certain point and then it's always this little disconnect and we can't figure it out. It's a whole bunch of reasons, and a lot of it goes back to childhood. A lot of it. And I hope that I hope that as we see things happening right before our eyes on social media and in the news, that we will begin to understand the importance of communication and allowing our young people to speak. When I was growing up, you know, I couldn't be in the room with adults. We were told, they would ask you real quick, do you see any children in here? Then why are you in here? Get out grown people's business. Well, maybe I had a question, you know. But back then, you just weren't allowed to say what you wanted to say. And some people have taken that same behavior and have brought it into their homes, and they do that with their children. I actually reversed it, and I allowed my son to say whatever he wants. Some people thought, you know, he said too much as a kid, but you know, he knew the fine line with me of disrespect, but I allowed him to express himself because I wanted my son to grow into a man who would be able to pick and choose the right female and let that female know, hey, I ain't for it today, or I'm tired, or I can't do that, my head hurt, nope, I'm not doing that. And that's who he's become. It's all about listening and allowing these young people to communicate and express themselves. And I don't know if adults realize what these children go through in a day just to go to school, the things that they're dealing with. And so when they come home, you know, my question to you is, are you talking to your young person? Are you still asking them, how was school? How did things go today? Are you in tune and in touch with their feelings? Are you taking a day with them? And I know everybody's busy, and it wasn't nobody busier than me with 3 jobs and going to games and all that kind of stuff. But are you taking a day with your child to maybe go out and get ice cream, or I don't know, walk at the mall, or go play a game, basketball? Are you doing things with them so you can connect to find out where they are? Because you're their first teacher, and thank you, Sharon, helping them with their homework. Are you doing that, or is the TV the babysitter? You know, is social media the babysitter? It's sad. It's really sad. And you know, even for me, I'm saying I have to find an outlet now, because the calls that I get are really sad. You know, people are giving up even on raising their children. It's just like everybody's done. Y'all, we can't be done. We got to keep going. But tonight is not about us women. It's about my brothers. And like I said, I can't speak to any community but mine, because I don't know what goes on in the other communities and how they were raised and all of that. I know how I grew up in a black community, so I know how I was raised in my community. And I want black men to understand, if you didn't hear anything that I said tonight, please, if you're not feeling good, know that it's okay to go and get help. It's okay to not be okay. And it's okay to say that I'm not okay. And I just want you all to know that. I mean, if you're hurting and you need to cry, it's okay to cry, you know? If you're struggling or depressed, or you're feeling suicidal, it's okay to say, I'm feeling this way. And there's also a national hotline that you can call 24 hours, 7 days a week. The number is 988. Guys, you can call that, and they will talk to you. There's somebody there to talk to you. Maybe some of you may be in relationships or marriages where you don't even feel comfortable telling your significant other that you're not good. Just like DJ Twitch, his wife had no clue. I'm pretty sure that woman, when she woke up on Monday morning and their anniversary they celebrated on Sunday, I'm pretty sure she had no clue that the whole world would be talking about her husband committing suicide. And this is somebody that she's sleeping beside every night. Sometimes you just don't know what these men are going through because they've held it in so long. And sometimes you can only suppress it for so long. It's going to come out one way or the other. And unfortunately for him, it came out where he committed suicide and left 3 beautiful children, 2 young children. I think the other one was a teenager, but 2 little ones who now have to live with that. And that's the thing I want you guys to remember also, is that when you do stuff like that, when you commit suicide, you take a piece of those people with you, because a part of them dies because you're gone. And so when you go, you take a piece of them. These children will never forget. He was always posting these videos of him and his family dancing. They looked like they were always having a good time. Beautiful family. And so these children have to grow up without their dad, and with the whole world knowing, everybody talking about it, and not really understanding what happened. So they're going to need some help too. That's trauma. And they're going to need some help. And so, you know, it's yeah, Sharon, it's very sad. And I'm just really saddened by that. Now, I think it may be hitting me hard too, because a friend of mine passed away yesterday. And I got a call, and I've known him since I was 19. He was in my wedding and everything. And my other friend called and said, I wanted to tell you that he passed away before anybody called you. And I was sitting right on this chair, and I felt like at that point I was like something was sucking me into the chair, like, oh my goodness. And it stunned me, because I knew that he was battling with depression. And I also knew that he was the life of the party. He was the life of the party. He was always laughing. You know, as word got around today about his passing, people were like, oh, he was so funny. He was so this. Well, we were very close friends. He was like my brother. He was at least, I want to say about 10 years older, 10 or 11 years older than me. Really like a brother I never had. And so he would share with me that he was battling depression. And the stress of the depression took him out of here, because he wouldn't talk to anybody about it. And that's the second friend that I've lost, male friend that I've lost, who was battling with depression but didn't want anybody to know about it, but would be out like the life of the party, smiling, laughing, and you would never know. That will kill you. And I just want every man who's listening, and if you know somebody, Sharon said you never know when a person is depressed. They don't show any signs. There are people who function every single day. I was one of those people. Function every single day, depressed as I don't know what. Sometimes I didn't even know what day it was, but I could laugh and smile and do my work, and getting all kinds of awards and everything at work. And I was a basket case. And so, you know, when I look at my 2 friends who passed away, and I had, it's been crazy. 2 of my friends committed suicide last year. Depressed. One was a man. And my male friend, this is another thing. My male friend who committed suicide, 51 years old, would always tell me that he could never be right in life. He could never have a great relationship with a woman. And he met some really nice females. But he said, I can't, it's just something that's stopping me. So one day we talked, and he shared with me that the one thing that he wanted growing up was his mom to say, I love you. He said he would go to school, he would see some of his friends, and their mom would be hugging them, hugging his male friends and saying, I love you, and how was school today, good job, just stuff that you don't think is a big deal. His mother never did that. But again, like I said, his mother was the kind of person who yelled at him for crying, called him a punk, told him he was weak. You act like a girl, you a sissy because you always whining. So he wanted to have conversations and a relationship with his mom, and he didn't. And it affected his entire life. In the last few years of his life, he was trying to still reach out to his mom and hug her, and he wanted his mom to say, I love you. And his mom ended up passing away. And after that, it was like it just messed him up, because he knew, and he said to me, I'm never going to hear that. I'm never going to hear I love you from her. I'm literally going to be on this earth and never know what it feels like to have those hugs from her. And you're talking about somebody in their 50s. And this is how certain things will affect our young men. Again, here's a man who was a little boy who had feelings and what he needed, because all of our children need different things. You know, I watched my mom raise 4 girls, and we all needed different things. And as a child, as a young boy, what he needed was hugs. What he needed was reassurance. What he needed was, I love you, son. Mommy loves you. He needed that. And because he didn't get it, it affected him in his relationships with women. And he just spiraled into a deep depression because he just couldn't get it together. And those types of things will affect you in life. And it affected him to the point where he committed suicide last year. And I still think about him because he had so much potential. But when you don't deal with that pain, and he would go to therapy, and then he wouldn't go because he felt like, I'm not going to this is stupid, I don't need to go. And he felt like therapy was going to be a big fix. And I want to say to everybody, when you go to therapy, it takes time. If you've been traumatized or something has happened to you over a period of time, don't think you're going to go into therapy today or 2 sessions and everything is going to be good, because it's not. And so he got frustrated with therapy. And I guess for him, he took his life last summer. And so, when these things happen, I'm always reflecting and continuing to have that conversation with my brothers that you don't have to resort to suicide, because there are ways of getting help. If you want the help, there are ways of getting help. So I hope you guys will do me a favor. I'm saying guys, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you all will do me a favor and share this video to a man or a young man in your life, so they can understand that if you don't feel like you're getting what you need, and this is what I shared with my friend last year, my other friend that just passed away yesterday, that sometimes we have to get to a place where we accept the fact that there are some things that we want from people, our parents, our siblings, or aunts or uncles or whoever, that we may not get. You wanted your mom to say I love you. Well, you have to accept the fact that that may not happen. So how do you create a space and create something in your life where you love yourself so much and you allow somebody else to come in and love you? You allow somebody else to show you what it means to love you and say I love you to you. And I always think about my dad, because my dad, yeah, right, Sharon. She said I went to domestic violence meetings. My dad, unfortunately, his mom died when he was 8 years old. And, you know, he's 86 now. He's gone from age 8 to 86 without a mom. But I believe that, you know, because my dad continued to persevere, that he ended up marrying my mom, and he had 4 daughters. And the 4 of us, like, I love my dad. You better not mess with my dad. Like, and I know he don't need none of my help. But I feel like God gave him 4 daughters so he could see what it feels like to be loved, to be, you know, I know sometimes we probably do the most. Because sometimes he's like, I'm not a little boy, but, you know, he's our dad, you know. And so I feel like, you know, that's why he gave my dad 4 daughters, so he could get that love that he missed. Can you imagine being 8 years old and not having your mom, and you know, getting that love that he missed? So he has 4 girls. He said that we're the reason that he lost all of his hair. I don't believe that, but anyway. So, but I was saying to my friend, if you would let the one before he committed suicide, I said maybe you should just let one of these women, give them a chance to come in, because they may be the person that can give you that love and love you so much that it takes away all of the pain and the hurt that you're feeling from not getting it from your mom. And so sometimes we have to be open, and we have to go through the process. She said I was I was daddy's baby too. Yeah. You know, sometimes we have to go through the process. Guys, you have to go through the process, and don't give up. You know, if I could say anything to you tonight, I would say don't give up. Don't ever give up, because life is worth living, and there's somebody out here that's going to love you if you allow them to. And sometimes the people that we want to get all of this, the love and everything, and the affirmations, and we want to be validated by, sometimes we have to understand that we want something from our parents that they're not able to give us because it wasn't given to them. And so sometimes we're asking, you know, and we're thinking in our mind, I want this from my mom, I want this from my dad, not understanding or recognizing that they probably do want to give you those things. Like I said to my friend, I said, your mom probably did want to say, I love you. But that was probably so hard for her to say because nobody ever said it to her. And maybe she didn't feel comfortable enough or trust herself enough to say it because it was like foreign language to her. And I said to him, sometimes you have to give your parents a pass, because it's not that they don't want to do it, it's because it wasn't given to them. The young man that was on the show last night, it was the opposite. He was actually reaching out, and his mom was just beyond abusive. I don't even know what words to use. She was beyond abusive with this young man. But he has gone and gotten help. He's gone through his healing. He's gone through his journey. And he understands that he has to love himself. And he's accepted the fact that what he should have gotten from his mom, that he probably won't ever get, and he's okay with it. That's healing, and that's growth. And, you know, I was just amazed and blown away by his story, because if somebody had told me he committed suicide, I would have been like, you know, I definitely understand. But the strength in that young man being 28 years old, and hearing what he went through last night was just unbelievable. But I just wanted to come on and say that to our men, because everybody deserves to be loved. Everybody deserves to be heard. Everybody deserves to be validated, treated the right way, listened to, hugged, told I love you. I tell my son every day, I love you, I love you, I love you. You know, and we have to start doing that with our young boys. We really do. If you're not doing it, if you feel uncomfortable saying I love you or hugging up your boys, come on, let's try it. At least try it. And if not, there are parenting classes out here. There are support groups out here. You may need your own psychological testing or whatever. Maybe you need to go to therapy to help heal some things in you so you can give more of yourself to your children. I don't know. But I just feel like I saw somebody on here. Who is that? Okay. I was trying to see who that was. It looks like somebody was trying to come on. I don't know if they were trying to come on or not, but I want again, I just want my black brothers to know that that's what you deserve, okay? That's what you deserve. As I tell my son every day, don't take anything less. Don't just get with someone because you just need to be loved and you need to be held and you're trying to fulfill a need. Get with someone who actually loves you for you and will hold you and hug you because that's what they want to do. And they understand that's what you need. Otherwise, you're just setting yourself up again. And you're repeating a pattern. Okay? So to all my black brothers, love yourself. Please get help. If you are uncomfortable with making the call to get help, because we all know when we're going through something, and if we need to go and talk to somebody, we all know that. If you're feeling uncomfortable and you need help, please feel free to reach out to me. If you need help, not for anything else, okay? Not for anything else. If you need help and you're trying to get yourself back on track, especially if you're feeling suicide. Oh man, oh wow. I just remembered I got a text today. As you can see, y'all, I was with my son coaching a game, and I got a text that I did not answer about a young man who's suicidal. It's too late to call now. I'll call in the morning. But if you are feeling that that's what I was saying. If you're feeling that this is not something that you can do on your own, please reach out to me. I don't care what state or wherever you live, and I will help you to find or get connected to the people who can help you in the state that you live in, because this is near and dear to my heart. Mental illness and all of the things that people are going through, and I'm sad that this young man took his life. Had so much promise and had so many things ahead of him, and sometimes your depression and your sadness will block your view, and you're not able to see just how precious and special that you are, because depression has just clouded all of your thoughts. And he probably, if he could see all of the love that's being poured in right now to him, he would be amazed. And had he just spoken And as much as people go on social media, you know, had he just spoken and said, I need help, you know, he probably would still be here right now. Hey, Tanika. Hey, Tanika. He probably would be here right now had he just communicated. And that's all it is, guys. It's just communicating. Even if you just say, I need help, and you don't say anything else, those 3 words, I need help, there shouldn't be any question. You need help? What you talking about? I need help. Even if you call the 988 line, I need help. You text Lady J, I need help. You don't have to give a long story or dissertation. I need help. Or I'm not good. I don't feel well. Things aren't good. You just say a few words to help people to understand, whoa, let me pump the brakes for a minute and see what's going on with this brother. She said, Lady J, Tanika said, Lady J, I have been reaching out for help for years. So, Tanika, this is what I want to say to you, because you and I have talked. When you reach out for help, you got to keep going, okay? Don't let the rope go. You got to keep going. When you reach out, you can't just reach out and get frustrated and then stop and then try to go find somebody else. I said earlier in this video that it's going to be tough. When you start going to therapy, it ain't going to be easy sitting on that chair, because that therapist is going to dig all the way down inside of you and pull all of that stuff out. And we're going all the way back to childhood. But when you start reaching out, you have to be committed to the journey. And nobody can walk the journey but you. People may, walk beside you and say, I'm here with you and all of that. But nobody can walk that journey with you. You have to stay committed to the journey. And as I tell people, you got to be so committed to that journey that you know without a shadow of a doubt that I'm not going to let anything or anybody get in my way. I'm tired of the way things are going, so I'm going to make this commitment to myself and be committed to the journey. Be committed to the process. And that means that it may be some people, places, or things that you have to let go in order to remain committed on this journey. She said, I've been in therapy for 13 years straight. It's not working. You have to talk to your therapist. You have to talk to your therapist, and you and your therapist need to discuss why it's not working. And since I don't know the history and I don't know all of that, I can't really comment on it. But that's something that you would need to talk to your therapist about. And maybe you need another therapist. Or maybe you've had a bunch of therapists. And sometimes, Tanika, and I've said this to you, sometimes you got to look at you. Is the therapist doing their job and I'm not doing mine? Or what's going on? Because that's a long time to be in therapy for 13 years and it's not working. How committed are you to the process? Because it's a job for the therapist. They don't go home saying, you know what, I met Tanika today, blah, blah, blah. No, it's a job, So are you committed to, how committed are you to your journey? How committed are you to your process? And I'm saying that because when I started in therapy, Tanika, years ago, I went because I had two options. One was because I was very depressed. One was you can either go to therapy on your own, or we're going to put you in a hospital and we'll let you know when you can come back out. I chose to go to therapy on my own. But what I did was I sat in a chair big like this, and she was talking and I was paying her no attention, looking around like, what time are we going to be done? And I was not committed to my therapy at all those first 3 or 4 years. I went because I didn't want to be in a hospital. But when I finally made the commitment years later that I'm wasting time by even driving over here, sitting here talking to this lady, I might as well go in and try to learn something. And once my mindset started changing and I really started saying, I need to commit to this journey because I want to do better and I want to be better, things started changing. So a lot of times the patient, has so many things going on in their head and in their life that they're not always fully committed to the process. So like I said, I don't know what your situation is, but she said my angry is on 1,000. My trauma has been going on since forever. Yeah. And so you need to actually, if you feel like the therapist that you have is not working, I would suggest that you try to get another therapist. Like I said, I don't know I know we've talked, but I don't know all of your situation, and I definitely can't speak on what your therapist is doing with you because I don't know. But I do want you to know, and that the most important thing in this process is you being committed to the journey and you being committed to your healing. That's important. And don't go just expecting the therapist to show you how to do everything and point you here and point you there. No, you definitely have to do the work. And I said this earlier in the video that when you go through trauma, and let's say you've gone through trauma for, I'm just using an example, the past 20 years, man, that trauma is not going to go away right away. It's not. I've been in therapy for, 15 years now? Maybe, let's see, I've been divorced 13, maybe about 17 or 18 years, because I refused to come out of therapy. But I didn't commit to really working in therapy like I should, working on me, until about like 10 years ago. But the thing that I understand is because of the mental trauma that I went through for 28 years, well, over 28 years, that doesn't go away right away. And so I know that it's a commitment. It's something that I have to keep working on. And so that's what I'm saying to you. But I don't really want to, comment on what your therapist is doing because I don't really know. And that's not, that's not good for me to do. But I think you had another comment on here. Let's see what you're saying. You said, I just want to be, you said, Lady J, I'm tired of them, period. I just want to be to myself. 2023, I'm not healing. I'm regressing all over again. And it took death to bring me to this point. So someone died. It took someone, has someone died recently? You said it took death to bring me to this point. I just want to be to myself. 2023, I'm not healing. I'm regressing all over again. And it took death to bring me to this point. You sound very depressed. And you probably need to express to your, I don't know if you have expressed it to your therapist, exactly what you just said to me, and let them know Oh, someone died recently. Okay. And this is Tanika, this is a difficult time for a lot of people. The holiday season, people dying, and then having to still try to wake up every day. And I know you have children, and still try to wake up every day and be happy and deal with the children and get ready for Christmas. It's tough. And that's why I'm saying to you, please make sure that you reach out to your doctor or your therapist and let them know exactly how you are feeling. Okay? That's really important. I can't really and I won't, try to do anything online in front of everybody. I think it's best for you to call your therapist and really talk to them and let them know that you use the powerful word. You feel like you're regressing. That's not a good thing, but it can be reversed. And I think that, you at this point in time, it sounds like you're really, really depressed, and you need to call them tomorrow morning. If you feel like it's really bad, you need to call that 988 number. Maybe not wait until tomorrow morning. Call that 988 number. It's a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week hotline, and they can also help you as well and connect you in the state that you're in with someone who can help you. Because I don't want you to feel like you have to be at home. I know you have a little one, and she needs you. So I don't want you to feel like you have to be at home suffering alone or suffering in silence, especially with, Christmas coming. And I know little girl is excited about Christmas and all of that. So, please make sure that you check in with your behavioral health clinic. You said since COVID, my therapist group is not the same. No more staff and all. And I do understand that as well. A lot of, and you're in Baltimore. And what I will say is in Baltimore, I get a lot of calls because people can barely get an appointment in Baltimore at these behavioral health clinics. And that's why I'm, saying call your doctor. Still have the 988 numbers. There's Shepherd Pratt. You have to do whatever it is that you need to do to get help, Tanika. And that's what I'm saying to you. Whatever it is that you need to do. If you have to go to Shepherd Pratt and get help, this is about your mental health. This is about your healing. And this is about being whole for your little one. I think your daughter's 2 or 3. So, this is about being whole for her. Because otherwise, if we don't work on our healing, those things we pass down to our children because we haven't worked on us. So I really want you to do whatever it is that you can tomorrow when you wake up. And like I said, if need be, if you have to go to Shepherd Pratt, do that, but let them know. Oh, you said your little girl is driving you crazy as well. Well, she's at the age, Tanika, the 2-year-olds are no joke, okay? They little terrorists. And I was glad when my son got out of that 2-year-old stage, because I said, you gonna have to move. I'm looking at him like, I'm gonna have to find you a new home. He wasn't that bad, but he was just busy and everything. And that's how they are, going through their terrible 2, 3. They start slowing down when they get around 4, getting ready for kindergarten. But that with the terrible 2s and the 3s is whoever made that up, they were right. So I know that's a lot to deal with as well. I hope that you have some kind of support system around you where you can you have people that can help you, or maybe babysit for you, maybe give you a day or some time by yourself to go and get some help. I'm sorry, my video was stalling, but to go and get some help. So I just don't want you to be suffering in silence, because this is the time of the year where people unfortunately commit suicide and do all kinds of other things. So this is why I'm saying this to you. She said that she's 3. Her mouth and she has a she's a busybody, and she won't go to the potty. Yeah, this is that age, Tanika. And I'm sure there's a lot of mothers and fathers who are watching who have gone through that stage that will concur that this is probably the roughest time. And then, they get real cute and everything, and then the teenage years comes, and it's just, that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, I will be praying for you, and I do hope that you definitely get help tomorrow morning. Please, please make those phone calls if you can't get your therapist or their office on the phone. And I do know, I don't know where you are, but I do know that at University of Maryland they were having, because I go there, and I know that they were having a lot of pretty much all of my doctors are gone, and I had to really put my foot down and say, I need this and I need that, because all of my doctors, they were like, they're no longer at the practice, and this is for primary care, and the only one I had left was my neurologist. Everybody else is gone, and I don't know if people are leaving healthcare. I'm not really sure what's going on. So I do understand what you're saying, that where you can't, there's nobody to talk to, and then the few that are left are so overwhelmed because they've taken on the other doctor's patients. So it's a lot, and I do understand that. Sharon said they come and go. Tanika said, I have an appointment at Beans and Bread tomorrow morning for wraparound housing. Please pray for me. Absolutely. I will definitely be praying for you, and please let me know how that goes. I hope everything goes well, because I know this has been a rough year for you. I do know that. And just continue to hang in there, continue to be strong. It's been a rough year for a lot of people, and sometimes people don't talk about it, but I'm glad that even though we're on social media, that you're expressing how you feel, and I want you to know that we're all going to be praying for you. Sharon said, I got to know my doctor real good, and then he left. Yeah, Sharon, I had my doctors before I had, when I had the strokes, and they followed me through this whole journey, and next thing I know, everybody's gone. But, COVID had an impact on that as well. So listen, guys, I hope that, I hope that you will just do me a favor and share this video. I was going to talk about the other young man. He's a rapper. His name is Gunna. And he pleaded guilty today, and so he was able to get out. I'll talk about that another time. Tonight I just wanted to really talk about this young man who committed suicide, and I really wanted to speak to my black brothers to let you know that you are loved, and there may be people who around you who never say I love you. And sometimes it doesn't come out until after death, and people are like, man, I loved him, but I just wanted to say to all of you, especially to the ones that I know and the ones that are in my life, like, I really love you, I appreciate you, and even for the male friends that I have that I call my big brothers, my little brothers, my sons, if you feel like you're going through something and you don't feel comfortable in talking about it, if you just say to me, I need help, I will help you to get the help that you need. And again, everybody who's watching, please do me a favor and share this with everybody, because I need the mothers, the women to know, the mothers, first of all, I need the mothers to know that if you are raising sons, you need to let them know that it's okay to be human. It's okay to express yourself. It's okay to have emotions. It's nothing wrong with it. And you need to walk them through it. And if you're having a hard time, you know, maybe you can get them in a group. They have group sessions for young people. You know, get them around people who will help them to understand as young men that it's okay, and it doesn't make you a punk, it doesn't make you a girl, it don't make you gay, like people saying, making you a sissy. All these words that I hear. Stop with the name calling. You know, stop and call them by their name and address the hurt and whatever it is that they're going through. And then I want to say to the men, you know, those who have grown into their manhood, make sure you choose somebody in your life who's going to be able to love you like you need to be loved, okay? And make sure that they're okay with you expressing how you feel, because there are some women who are not. So make sure you find somebody who loves you enough to allow you to be who you are and to express how you feel, okay? And if you need help, please give yourself permission to take that step to get the help that you need. It doesn't make you less of a man. It's going to make you a better man, okay? And I think I have